Okay, I'm teamed up again in World of Tanks with the Erg. This is a tier 3 through 5 match. Um, the Erg and I are both in our tier 5 vehicles. I'm going to start the game watching him in his IKV-103 Swedish tank destroyer. We're doing that because basically he had a really good game and I just had an average game. Now the IKV-103, although it has a fully enclosed metal hull, does not really have very much armor. At this tier, it's basically paper thin. It's almost impossible to deflect any shots. It can happen, doesn't happen very often. Now the Mountain Pass map is something of a corridor map. There's only a few ways to get from one end of the map to the other, which tends to focus the games into narrow branches or narrow paths. Now here the Erg starts to think about going up on that slope. There's an overlook there that'd be really good for sniping. However, there's already 3 vehicles up there, and you get too many vehicles up there just getting each other's way. Also, there is artillery in the game, and you really don't want to have all that many vehicles out in the open together. Basically, it's an artillery magnet. So he's heading along the north, heading east, along what we call the glacier. It's a hard packed surface. It's not slippery like ice. Basically, it's a pretty good surface for traveling. Although it does look like ice on the view. Now he has very thin armor, but he's in front. I get nervous whenever you have to do that, but somebody has to cover this front. If you let them cross that path down there, the enemy team, they can really get control of the center of the map. You want to contest it. You want to hit them when they come across. He stops. His binoculars and cabinet go up, and oh, he just missed that stug. We'll be seeing him later. I'm the one who actually kills him, I think. And there's an enemy Hetzer tank destroyer. Looks like he's got the heavy gun. Oh, and it just missed. Both of these guns, on the Hetzer and on the IKV-103, are low velocity guns. Now the Hetzer's fired high explosive. The IKV-103 is firing high explosive anti-tank. In other words, a shaped charge. It can burn a hole through armor if it hits the flags. And when it does a lot of damage, as you saw there. Oh, he did not get credit for that M3 Lee. Other player must have shot him first. And there you see, the Erg was shooting at one Hetzer, and the shell went down to the other. It's not really all that accurate a gun. It's got 0.4 dispersion. Also, as you see, the shells have a low velocity, only about 400 meters per second, so it takes a high arcing path. But when they hit something, they can do a lot of damage. Now, the Erg likes to equip his vehicles for both camouflage and view range. So he's spotting these guys, and there's a good chance they can't even see him. They're rounding the corner, shells are flying at him, and they can't see what's happening. Oh, there's another one, just looped right over him. This low accuracy on this gun is just really trolling the Erg right now. Ah, nice big hit on that Matilda Black Prince. Very heavily armored medium tank for this tier. But doesn't do much good against the IKV-103. Oh! And that M8 snuck up out of nowhere. I don't even know where the hell he came from. That's the American tank destroyer with a turret. Now everyone's pushing forward now because they've killed most of the enemy team. There waits for the M8 to fire. Doesn't want to be around the corner with no armor. Doesn't want to sneak up on him. And when the M8 fires, any second. There, he's fired. He's got several seconds of reload, and he's dead. And you see at this point, the Erg and I have killed 7 of the enemy vehicles. We've killed almost half the enemy team all by ourselves. And neither one of us gets a kill from this point on, but I'm going to keep following the Erg because he's close to the action I am at this point. I'm way the hell to the south, and there's just nothing down there anymore. Now, even though he's thin-skinned vehicle, he's going forward because the rest of his team are being chickens. There's a heavy tank behind him, That's not going to work. There's a Hetzer. He spotted him. Somebody else gets the kill. Now the only thing left on the enemy team is the artillery. And he probably tried to reposition himself to fire into the position of up the glacier where the Urg is. But he didn't seem to get any shots. And there's the artillery, making a run forward up the middle. But the Urg is not going to be able to... I don't think he gets a shot on this guy. He tries. Even though I'm in chat telling him, don't go, don't go. And that's it. Now, while the Urg was doing his shooting gallery up to the north, I'm heading down to the south. If both teams sent tanks down to this southwest corner, it can end up being a short-range brawl at that corner up ahead where the tank destroyer on my team just went. However, as he rounds the corner, he doesn't spot anything. And more importantly, nothing shoots back at him. Which tells me that the enemy did not send any vehicles down to this corner. By the way, I'm in the KV-1S. That's a modification of the standard Russian KV-1 heavy tank. It trades some of its armor protection for more speed. Still not exactly fast, but fast for a heavy tank. Anyway, as I said, since the tank destroyer on my team hasn't spotted anybody, and I see that there's a Chaffee on the enemy team to the north, poking up around the middle there, I figure I'm going to swing around behind him and say hello. Coming around the corner, still worried that somebody's going to shoot me, but nothing's been spotted, so I go ahead and do a hard left. The side armor on the KV-1S isn't that good, but I was fairly confident there was nobody there to shoot at me. Now, as I crest the hill, I should be able to see that Chaffee any moment now. And now, there he is. Came in, and... hello. Now, the tank destroyer on my side who was covering my back has just died, and I see there's an enemy IKV-103 on the minimap who killed him. Now, I make a mistake here. The IKV-103 has very thin armor, so I should be able to switch to my high explosive rounds. If I'd done that, I still would have been able to penetrate him, but it would only take 1 or 2 hits to actually kill him. Instead, I keep my armor piercing on, so it's going to take me multiple hits. Now, this IKV-103 player isn't very good. He's probably a fairly new player.
Enemy armor is damaged.
And there you see he just shot in the middle of that hill there. A more experienced player would have seen in the user interface a couple of different ways that the gun barrel was blocked by that hill. He didn't see that, so he wasted a shot. And now he's basically going to let me shoot him. Just fired into the ground again. And he's gone. I've got about twice the rate of fire as the IKV-103. When I hit, I do about half the damage, so it evens out. My gun also has a twice the muzzle velocity of the IKV-103. So it's much easier for me to hit targets at a distance and moving targets, as we see.
Enemy armor is destroyed.
And that's my third kill. At this point, I realize that the Urg and I will get the Brothers in Arms badge if we both survive. So I'm telling him in chat, don't die, don't die. And since my vehicle's rather slow, that's the last contribution I make to this battle. So let's end my view here. And here's the results screen from Urg's game in the IKV-103 tank destroyer. You got the Ace Tanker badge, which means this game was in the top 1% of all IKV-103 games of the past week on the North American server. You got the Fighter badge, destroyed at least 4 enemy vehicles. Fire for effect. He did more damage to enemy vehicles than the hit points of his vehicle. He actually did over 3 times the hit points of his vehicle in damage. You got the High Caliber badge for damage total of at least 20% of the hit points of the entire enemy team, 1,081. In addition to that, he did 671 points of spotting damage. That means he was spotting the enemy, and his teammates were able to shoot those enemies even though those teammates could not see the targets on their own. And he also got the initial spot on 6 enemy vehicles. However, the big thing, in my view, in this game was the Brothers in Arms badge. because both he and I got at least 3 kills, and we both survived the battle, we get the Brothers in Arms badge. It's very rare for the Erg and I to both do well in the same game and survive. Usually it doesn't work out that way for us. As far as the team score goes, Erg was number 1 on damage in our team, and number 1 on EXP. I was number 4 on damage, and number 3 on EXP. But the star of the show was, of course, the Erg, for his Ace Tanker badge and the IKV-103 tank destroyer.